Hello, welcome back to Move Ahead with Dahlia. I'm your host, Dahlia Cahigas. And on today's show, I have Moises Soriano. He is a property manager at LUCHA, the Latin United Community Housing Association. Hi, Moises. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for bringing me in here.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's start by having you talk about what you do at LUCHA as the property manager.
I'm the property manager for the property which is called Madres Unidas, which has 2 and 3 bedroom units.
Okay.
I've been with Lucha since November, enjoying the company very much. I love the smaller companies. We feel like family,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. It makes you feel better. Makes me want to go to work.
Absolutely. And I know many people from Lucha, and I can understand totally why you'd love to work there because there's really a lot of wonderful, passionate people in the organization.
Oh yeah, they made me feel at home from day one, so it felt great. I just like it.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
can't complain.
Good, good. So, as property manager of Madres Unidas, so first of all, tell us, where is that location?
The Madres Unidas properties are within a mile radius of the office. We're located on North Avenue in Central Park, 3541 West North Avenue. Most of my units are pretty much within 2-3 blocks of each other.
Okay.
Several on Wabansia, on Drake, St. Louis. The furthest one out I might have is on Haddon, which is closer to Division in California. Either way, they're still within a mile radius of the office where I can easily have access to the units or the resident has access to the office.
Wonderful. How many buildings do you manage?
It's 11 buildings, 33 units.
33 units.
Yes, most of the units, the buildings themselves are 3 flats. The 3-bedroom units are on the first and second floor, and the 2-bedroom units are on the third floor. We do provide parking for the residents in the back. The neighborhood, depending on the block, you'll have plenty of parking, but we do provide parking. The units inside are capable of having washer and dryers.
Nice.
The resident would just have to purchase them themselves. We'll be more than happy to have maintenance do the connections for them. Yes, at this moment.
Yeah, that's great. So before we go into a little bit about how to apply for these units that may be available, so Lucha has 4 different developments, right?
Correct.
So Madres Unidas is the one
Mine.
you manage.
Correct.
And then what are the other 3?
Borinquen, Tierra Linda, and we know it as HPR, but it's Humboldt Park Residence.
Okay.
Humboldt Park Residence is more with Lucha. Tierra Linda and Borinquen is with another management company that we assist along for the wait list for the residents.
Okay, so you guys you guys handle the intake of the applications for all the properties,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And
It will have to
then-
go through me.
Right, and through you, and
Yes.
then they're distributed to whichever development the applicant wants to apply to.
Well, more like qualify.
Qualify.
Right, because if you have one applicant that's alone on the application, I cannot put them on my property because
Okay.
you have to income qualify, but you also have to have the correct family size.
Okay, so for your properties that you manage, what is like the minimum number of people per household?
For a 2-bedroom, for example, you could have 2 people. It could be a brother and a sister that right away will qualify as a 2-bedroom. But if you are a couple, you will only qualify for a 1-bedroom. If you are a mother and a daughter, you will qualify for a 2-bedroom. Same qualifications will extend out when you are applying for a 3-bedroom unit. You can't just say, I want a 3-bedroom. You actually have to qualify with the family size. You could have a couple, a son and a daughter, and that alone, I will have to at least provide you the 3rd bedroom because as time comes, the children end up growing up. We can't have 2 young adults of a male and a female to be in one bedroom. They will need their own individual bedrooms. So depending on the family size
And the dynamics of the family.
Correct.
Okay.
I can identify to at least put you on the correct bedroom size.
Oh.
That's just part of the qualifications.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get into the qualifications. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works in terms of the income qualifications?
To income qualify, the units we manage, they're called tax credit units, meaning they're lower than the market rent of the neighborhood, in the Humboldt Park neighborhood, of course. This survey is done annually, so obviously the rent will increase gradually, but not as much. But it is a lot lower because we do receive a subsidy from the government because we are a non-for-profit organization. Part of the qualifications, you have to income qualify, meaning you have to have sufficient enough income from all the family members. It could be whether it's income from employment, Social Security, child support, contributions, or any other outside source of income. The thing is, we have to use a scale that HUD provides for us, which is an AMI scale, which my properties for tax credit, I have to use 40 and 50% guidelines in order for you to qualify.
Okay.
Majority of the properties I worked at before, we only used 30%, which majority did qualify. For example, those families that are on a fixed income, when you're under a 30% AMI scale, you're more than likely able to qualify. But when it's tax credit units, you have to have a higher income. Because on my properties, you have to be able to afford the rent and also be able to pay utilities, gas and electric.
Okay.
Hence, you have to have a higher income.
Okay.
Unfortunately, those that only have Social Security benefits, for example, they won't be able to qualify because they won't be able to afford the unit itself. But that's why HUD provides us that guideline, so we know which way we can guide ourselves for these units.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to put you on the spot here, but can you give us an example of, let's say, a family of three, husband, wife, and a teenage daughter,
Right.
And based on like three people for a 2-bedroom unit, like what would the income look like, I guess? What would they expect the income to look like?
Right. So the scale lets us know first how many people are going to be on the actual lease. So if there's 3 people, if at 40%, don't quote me on this, I believe minimum 42,000
Okay.
to begin. Now, what a lot of people do not understand that you cannot go over the income limit and you cannot be under income limit. Even if it's by $1, you're disqualified.
So if it's $42,000 minimum, right?
Correct.
That they would have to make in this
For 3
example,
family members.
For 3 family members, what would
The
you say?
maximum might be 46 or 47,000.
Okay, so it's a very narrow scale then.
Correct.
It's only a few $1,000s.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So that if someone isn't sure and they don't want to apply and go through all the trouble without, would they just be able to call you and say, well, here's what we make, here's how many people. Can you give us an idea if you think we would qualify, or do they just have to submit the application and wait to see what happens?
What I always encourage everybody to do, just apply. Apply it today, because I don't know the future. In 6 months, a year from now, your income could be a lot higher, and then you'll be able to qualify at that time.
Oh, I see.
So when your name actually gets called, I'm not going to have you come in and begin the screening process knowing I might reject you or you might actually qualify.
That's true.
So over the phone, I will ask the applicant to provide me their actual income amounts.
Yeah.
Verbally over the phone, and I will ask them again to provide that proof, meaning the easiest way for us will be check stubs. Also, we use the gross amount of the check, not the net amount. So there's a difference. A lot of people think the gross should not be counted. Well, unfortunately, it does.
Yeah.
Once I calculate that information, I will look at the scale to see if you do qualify. If you do, you're more than welcome to come in. We'll begin the screening process. As part of the screening process, you do have to provide a $30 money order.
Okay.
For each adult member.
Okay.
18 and over, because that will go towards doing the credit check and the criminal background check. When the criminal background check, the rules have changed throughout the years for those, unfortunately, that have been arrested and wrongfully arrested, because sometimes, you're at the wrong place, wrong time.
Of course.
So the rules have changed as far as if it was a recent arrest within the 3 years, You will have to provide some sort of documentation. You're in good standing, become a good citizen. If anything, if it's, I believe, past 5 years, and you could see there has not been any activity, we can continue on. But of course, I will always ask my superiors to go ahead and allow me to move forward. I don't make a decision
You
on
don't
my
make the
own.
decision.
No, that's why it's always good to have another pair of eyes to make sure we're both following, rules and guidelines.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as the credit check, the credit score does not matter.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, you should see mine.
That is a really good thing. I was afraid you were going to say they were going to ask
No,
for
because
a high credit score.
it's for lower income families. So none of us have 600, 700, score points. So what my red flags mostly always have been, and what I've been trained to look for, is any types of evictions, collections from People's Gas or ComEd, meaning the utility companies. Now, each case is case by case individually, because sometimes there are some families that have gone through the eviction process, but that's due to the landlord, unfortunately, doing his things.
Right.
So what I always ask the applicant to do is always have those court documents ready for me to review, so we can have it, and I can show it also against to either our compliance department and make sure we're crossing every possibility that we can move forward with the applicant.
Yeah, so it's not a cut and dry scenario.
No.
Everything could be worked through depending on the situation.
Correct. Okay. Everybody has a different story. I've seen it throughout the years where the husband left the mom there. Now she couldn't afford the rent. The landlord kicks him out, and now she has all this debt. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different scenarios that can happen when it comes to the eviction process. Right. So I always ask people, don't be discouraged. Let's just work through it. Before we get through all that, obviously, the income, once you income qualify, we'll go through all that. Right. The credit check, again, the score, I don't care if you have student loans. I'm not interested about your credit cards. That's the least of my problems. My concern is, are you able to maintain the unit by paying your utilities, paying your rent?
So I know one thing that most people have that they probably would question is, are pets allowed?
The property does not allow pets.
Okay.
But what we cannot deny or refuse, if the family has a need for an assistant animal. Right. That changes the whole ballgame. I cannot deny them. It's for an emotional need. We'll go through the paperwork as far as what we need. Usually I ask for a picture, the shots of the pet, description of the pet, and they will have to sign at least a form stating, they'll take care of the pet. If they're away, they will have to go with somebody, pick up any,
well, that's droppings. Good news, because they're allowing the service animals.
Correct. Okay. Right. We can't deny that. That's for them. Yeah. A pet, a whole different ballgame. Yeah. Normally, when there are no pets on the property, the main thing, obviously, a lot of people frown on pit bulls, which I think that's not fair. But
no, it's not.
A pet's a pet. It could be an alligator. It could be a snake. It could be anything. Mm-hmm. But if it's an emotional animal, I cannot deny you for that. But there is a small process for that, and you'll be able to move forward. So we just have to document everything.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I read that LUCHA manages affordable rental housing developments for over 400 tenants. So I'm assuming that's those 4 developments altogether. Correct. So as far as you know, well, because you manage one of the developments, are there vacancies?
For my property, I currently do have 3-bedroom vacancies. I just have to turn them over. The thing is, my 3-bedroom wait list has been exhausted due to either the applicants no longer interested, found housing, don't qualify income-wise, whatever the scenario is. So I actually breezed right through it. So at this time, I'm asking for everybody and anybody that is interested to go ahead and apply. Again, I will have to identify the family size to see if you qualify for the 3-bedroom units. But I do have some vacancies. Now, the process is, it says it in the name, wait list. Yeah. You have to wait. There's nothing immediate. I've been bombarded with a lot of families with sad stories needing to move out within the month. And unfortunately, because of the process, I can't assist them, which could be frustrating, but there's a reason for this process. I have to give everybody an opportunity to qualify for our units. My wait list is currently open. You can go to you can email me at msoriano@lucha.org.
Okay.
Soriano, Soriano. My phone number is 773-276-5338, extension 225. It'll be easier to catch me on email. If you could catch me on email, I'll be more than happy to provide you the application. The application is in English. The front part is in English. The back is in Spanish. So at least we'll have that for our Spanish-speaking families. It's easier for them to apply.
Wonderful. Well, yes, that's very important. So the email is msoriano@lucha.org.
Correct.
Okay, great. Let me see if there was any other questions. I think there was one regarding qualifications. We talked about the income.
Yes.
Right. And you mentioned the credit. Doesn't matter. They just have to submit the applications.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, don't worry about what your income is today. Worry about it when I call you, because that I have to work with current numbers. I cannot predict, because like anything else, we could get a job tomorrow, a higher paying job, or next week. It doesn't matter. That actually helps you. By the time I call you, hopefully, you're able to qualify.
Yeah. So where are the other properties at? Do you have an idea of the locations?
Sadly, I don't, but I am aware that there are also within the management office location.
So because
on Division.
There's according to the website, they're in Logan Square, Westtown Communities, and Humboldt Park.
Correct.
Okay.
So they're still within the neighborhood.
They're still in the neighborhood there.
And one good news I can bring out to say now, as of last week, LUCHA was able to begin their phase 1 of a new property that we're going to have, which is called Encuentro. The first building is going to have 89 units. There will be 2 buildings. It will be located on Cortland. Address, I think it's 3734 Cortland, but it'll be on Ridgeway and Cortland.
I was just about to say that's near Central Park.
Correct.
So it's going to be near Ridgeway and Cortland.
The easiest way to recognize it, where the 606 trail starts, you'll be looking right at our building.
Oh, yes.
So we were able to successfully obtain the property. Right now, we're just entering into phase 1. And as soon as we have any further information, we will put it on our website. Also, as far as when that wait list will open. So for now, we're just happy to know that we have finally been able to successfully get Encuentro up and running.
Encuentro.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And so the website is lucha.org, but it is currently under construction.
Correct.
So there's really not anything you can do. There's nothing you can do in terms of clicking on anything and finding things, but you will find the website that has some of the information they're involved in.
Right. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Once again, just reach out to msoriano@lucha.org. I'll be more than happy to answer any emails. Give me a minute to respond, because sometimes I will be bombarded with emails, but I will respond. You can leave a voicemail. Voicemail is a little harder because I'm in and out of the office, so it'll be hard for me to answer your questions right away, but feel free to please reach out to me.
Okay, wonderful. And I don't know if you know anything about another building that's being constructed where the LUCHA offices are going to be moved to. Isn't there something going on with that?
We have a office coming up. It's going to be by North Avenue and Pulaski location.
Yes.
I forget the side street address.
Yes.
We're working on that.
Right.
We're working on that.
That's not finished.
No.
But Guillermina Leon
Yes.
mentioned it during the podcast that I had her on
Right.
a couple months ago. And she says that was something that they were working on, but they don't know officially when that move is going to happen.
Due to the pandemic, that's what slowed down a lot of the process. But hopefully soon, I will estimate in a year, we might be able to move over there. Obviously, the building has to have a lot of construction done to it, but it will be a bigger office, more office space, more privacy for the residents or applicants to meet with me.
Yeah.
Because on our current office right now, it's limited space.
Yeah.
The one located on North Avenue.
That's great. Well, Is there anything else that you can think of that we may have missed that you want to mention about what you do or about, the residents that you help? Any other information?
Once you become a resident, you will be asked. Well, no, we will provide you a link in order for you to pay online your rent.
Okay.
Which makes it a lot easier because nowadays these currency exchanges don't want to, they want you to purchase 2 money orders. And it's a little hassle for those families that are working. So you'll be able to pay your rent online, be able to see your balance. The rent's due on the 1st, no later than the 5th. On the 6th day, you'll be charged a $10 late fee. Majority of my residents, they're great. They're always paying their rent on time, which is great. Less hassle, but it's a wonderful thing. I'm sorry, lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I do have one other question while you're thinking about that. So, there's sometimes this stigma that these residences, these developments that are for low to moderate income families are crime ridden or have issues with the building, that they're not maintained properly. And I'd love for you to share what you know about that so we can explain to the listeners if there are scenarios that you feel they need to know.
Just because they're in housing doesn't mean it's free rent. It doesn't mean we do not care. We do care for our properties. We do have landscapers cutting the grass. We do have people shoveling the snow. We do have contractors. That stigma throughout the years, I've been doing property management for over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And of course, you will have that one neighbor that thinks they should not belong.
Right.
What I always have learned and told people is like, you should never frown on that because you never know if one day you're going to need housing.
That's right.
We're going to be that organization that's going to help you or your family members because anything can happen in one day. Yes. Where you lose your income. Now, where are you going to go to?
Yes.
So that stigma is a little ugly, but majority of the time I can always meet with that neighbor just to, diffuse the situation or let them know this is what we're about. I've been with different property management offices, and we always have reached out to the neighborhood. We would do everything possible to maintain our property as best as possible. I've always have an open door policy. Any neighbor, any resident wishes to discuss something with me, come on in. Let's see, well, what are we going to do? How we're going to help each other. So that stigma, I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Right, it is what it is. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up, because I think that, of course, we can't change people's mind without educating them.
Correct.
Right? And changing people's mind with education is going to also spread the word to other people.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure that we address that, because people will say, well, I don't want to live in these developments. I don't know, if they're maintained. I don't know who's living in those buildings. And clearly, from what you're telling me, because you're screening people that are getting these units, and because you're also involved in the maintenance process, getting the companies out there to keep up with the properties.
Right.
That says a lot. That speaks volumes to how well they are being maintained and who's living there.
Right, because we do have emergencies. For example, all this constant flooding we're having now.
Yes.
I've had properties where the flooding will overlap into the neighbors next door. So right away, I'm already rushing to get a contractor to help resolve that issue. At the end of the day, that neighbor that did not like us at the beginning, at the end, I win them over. Why? Because I provided them customer service, I provided them information, gave them a little bit more of what we're about.
Yeah,
each non-for-profit organization, we always have that goal, and that is to help the neighborhood.
Yeah. And communication is the key.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yes.
That's the number one thing to get people on your side, empathize with them, is communicating with them.
And I've done this so long where I can just preach it to anybody. It doesn't matter what race you are, what neighborhood you're in. Giving people information will help them understand what we're about. We're not just, oh, you're living for free. No, that's not how that works. Each family deserves the right to have a good apartment to live in.
Yes.
So,
yes,
just like
it's
anybody
our
else.
right.
Correct.
It's our right.
Yes, exactly.
So, and that's what I love about Lucha, because Lucha from the beginning, they've been around for many, many years,
Yes.
has taught people that it is your right to have the housing, and not just the housing, but to have good housing, safe housing.
Right. And we've gone out to the, Lucha has, with the coordinators, have gone out, distribute food, given out information as far as housing to apply, to give more people an opportunity, because sometimes a lot of people don't know what to ask if they're not informed.
Yes.
So I always try to give this information out as much as I can, because when I was growing up and my mom was struggling with 3 jobs, we didn't know about housing.
Yeah.
We just didn't. We just learned to go to work, get paid, pay the rent as soon as we can. Mm-hmm. I wish we had that information when I was growing up, but actually that probably is the reason why I'm the way I am. I'm a giver. I'd love to give as much information as I can, because if I could help one family move to the next step, that's my joy.
Yeah.
That's my reward.
That fulfills you.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
the paycheck.
awesome. Yeah, no, but I get it, because it's something that you're giving back to the community.
Right. Yeah. I've been in the Humboldt Park area for years. I right now, jokingly, this is the 5th time I'm coming back to Humboldt Park to work under a different management company.
Really?
So it seems like Humboldt Park does not let me go. But I walk around.
Yeah.
I've seen the neighborhood change throughout the years. I was there
Yeah.
in the early 90s, where it was bad to where it is now. Even my mom asked me the other day, "Aren't you afraid of walking around there?" I'm like, no, actually, I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a great neighborhood.
Well,
It's
Humboldt Park
growing.
is a beautiful neighborhood.
It is. The
It
park
really
is
a
beautiful.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that luxury out in the city. I've lived at Northside neighborhoods, and we don't have a large park like Humboldt Park does have.
Yeah.
Or events that can actually happen.
Well, full disclosure, when I was younger, when I was 8 years old, my family, we all moved from New Jersey to Chicago, and that's where we landed.
Okay.
In Humboldt Park.
Right. When I moved to the United States, my mom's first job was on North Avenue in Kimball.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been in Humboldt
You've
Park
been
for
in Humboldt
years.
Park
I've seen
forever.
the neighborhood change. I've seen the people change. And it's gotten better throughout the years. Of course, we cannot control today's violence. That's throughout the whole city.
That's the whole city,
It's not just Southside like they used to tell us back when I was younger. But the neighborhood has gotten a lot better. A lot more stores, a lot more coffee shops.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better. It's nicer.
Yeah, and it's about improving the community, the
Right.
shops, the people, getting to know each
and
other.
Lucha's been there from the beginning.
Yes, they have.
So it's a wonderful thing to be part of Lucha. I enjoy my company right now. Not my company, but working with.
Yeah,
Lucha.
working with them.
Yes.
Well, let's give your information one more time. Your email is msoriano@lucha.org, and your number is 773-276-5338, extension 225. The website is lucha.org.
Correct.
Thank you, Moises, for
Thank
being
you for the
here
invite.
today. Yes, really great information. Much success to you with all that you're doing with the community. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'd love to check in with you again once you guys have more information about the new residence that's being built.
I'll be more than happy to come back, give you more additional information of the new property called Encuentro. Once again, we're happy and thrilled that we're able to start with phase 1, which basically groundwork.
Yay!
All
Good
right.
job, Lucha people. We love you. Awesome.
I didn't do it all myself. There are other people that
Of course.
done a lot of the legwork. You got to give it
Yeah.
out to them more
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah, I know.
So great
Yeah.
job for them.
Wonderful staff.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moises.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, so thank you so much for listening today. Please share this episode, follow me, and subscribe wherever you listen to Move Ahead with Dahlia. And you can find me on all social media platforms at Dahlia the Realtor. To call me or text me, 773-879-4855. I'll see you on the next episode of Move Ahead with Dahlia. Make it a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.